1, 2. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
My name is Reverend Yearwood. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. I decided to drive down. I'm glad that I was in time to be with you. I want to add a couple things, I guess, to the bio. I'm not a big person on bios, but I guess I add a few things that I think are important. And that's I guess the phone call coming in right now to give me some. Thanks, David. One of the things I think is important is that I was an Air Force officer in the chaplain corps. And when this war started, I was stationed at Andrews Air Force Base in the reserves. And then at that point in time, my message, I would say, in front of the general who was there was, "Who would Jesus bomb?" And I continued to do that. And then eventually, because of my status, they pulled me in and they said, "This might not be the place for you." So I kind of wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention that I am also the president of the Hip Hop Caucus. And I am obviously a student of politics and understand this impeachment process and how it works, and I'm sure David will go into that some more. But I'm also a student of organizing. So I'm not just here, I didn't drive 7 hours just because I wanted to get here to speak about impeachment. I really want impeachment to happen.
Yeah. All right.
If this was just a measure of pontificating and talking about what needs to happen and how it could happen, then I'm sure you could have found some more people in North Carolina to have that discussion. But because this is serious and because people are dying as we speak, because this president is a war criminal, because he has left people behind in New Orleans to continue to die, because we have the most internally displaced person here in America and in Iraq, then it's time for this president, this vice president, the attorney general to be impeached. So with that, and with the time it was important in the bio to discuss what I did in 2004, was that one of the things was that in 2004, and working in that capacity, we registered over 1.3 million people. And we still keep in contact with those people, about 700,000. We try to keep in contact. We recently did something called the Make Hip Hop Not War Tour. That's something you might have heard about. We came through Greensboro. Because we believe that this situation that we are in now, dealing with impeachment and this war and torture and lying, is the lunch counter moment for the 21st century. And we as activists must now be willing to be at that lunch counter. We are now at a new lunch counter for humanity. That one was for equality. We are now at one for humanity. And we as activists must be willing to sit at that lunch counter, because if we allow this to continue in the 21st century, there will not be a 22nd century. That is the reality we face. So with that, let me just go into a few things, and then I'm looking forward to a wonderful discussion. On November 7th of 2005, I'm originally also from Shreveport, Louisiana as well. You might hear that little drawl in my voice. I'm a Southerner. It's good to be going south always. And November 7th of 2005, we crossed the Crescent City Connection Bridge, which is in New Orleans. That was the bridge in which people were blocked. The reason I mention that is because a lot of these times in these forums, we did not mention one of the most obvious, most hideous things done, which was Katrina. If there's ever the most evidence that was put there to impeach this president, it deals with New Orleans. The reason I deal with that date, we crossed the Crescent City Connection Bridge, which people were blocked on November 7th, 2005. 1 year later, this country would elect a Congress in an intervention on November 7th, 2006. What we did not know was that in electing this Congress, We knew this president was addicted to war, was addicted to killing. What we did not know was that this Congress was codependent. And so in that, we found out last week, as they now put forth $100 billion. We now have a challenge to do with impeachment. How do you get a Congress that is really a footstool for this president? How do we get a Congress to put forth the impeachment papers? How do we get a Supreme Court that has been put forth by this president who will have to carry out the process in itself? We are dealing with a very serious issue. But I leave with this. This is our lunch counter moment. If we don't do it, who will? Thank you. Thank you very much. Deborah?
Thank you. I want to throw out some questions because I agree with Rev on this. We're here building a movement in this country to drive out this regime because it is absolutely necessary. And there's nothing more important that any of us could do. All of the causes that I'm sure you all have also spent a lifetime trying to make this a better world, we're not going to get